Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, you can cancel your pre-order of this episode, but you will not get a refund. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including what to expect from Nintendo at the Game Awards. And then on Thursday, it is the second annual Cardies, the Nintendo Cartridge Society Awards, returns. But Mark, in the meantime, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I am very excited for the return of the Cardies.
I'm very excited for the return of the Cardies. There were some upsets and snubs last year. It's a dramatic ceremony, and it's the best time of the year, frankly.
Truly, yep.
When Nintendo's biggest stars come out to shine. Speaking of Nintendo's biggest stars, Sonic Forces. Sonic the Hedgehog, now one of Nintendo's biggest stars. He's in a couple Smash Brothers games, right?
Yeah.
Like four of them?
He's a co-headliner with Mario.
Right, at the Olympics.
At the Olympics, yeah.
Probably
won't be attending Beijing, right? Because
he's technically a diplomat?
Yeah.
Would you like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces? You can certainly try. All you gotta do is email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com and give us a mailing address where we can send you my copy of Sonic Forces, where he will be very diplomatic in your presence. You can play it for as long as you want or not, and then send it back. I pay for postage both ways. It doesn't cost you a thing. There may be a copy of Untitled Goose Game in the Sonic Forces box, but what are you gonna do?
Nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it.
Another thing you can do something about is you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much to everybody who has left us a review. If you leave us a review, it helps people find the show. And Patrick and I like reading them. Plus, you'll get a shout out on the show. And we check the US Apple Podcast Store, but if you leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts or you share the show in some other way, let us know. Send us an email, hit us up on Twitter. We would love to give you a shout out.
Yeah, and again, thank you to everyone who has already done it. If you have not already done it, thank you for what you are about to do for us.
That's right.
Wink, wink. Non-threatening wink, wink.
Well,
no, it's non-threatening. I'm gonna stick with non-threatening. Mark, at the end of this month, we are the week of Christmas, the week of New Year's. We are having Sega Genesis weeks for the holidays. The Sega Genesis Christmas. We are playing games that appear on the Sega Genesis Nintendo Switch online for the first week. So that week right before Christmas, I am going to be playing Gunstar Heroes.
I'm going to be playing Rystar.
And together we are going to be playing Golden Axe. And then for the week following, I am going to be playing Phantasy Star 4, the end of the millennium.
That's right. The random number generator
has spoken.
And so I will be
assigned me like a 70-hour RPG.
And I will be playing Strider.
And then together we will be playing Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. So if you are interested in playing along with any of those games or all of those games, you have the assignment just as much as we do. So get cracking. Mark, are you ready to get into what we've been playing this week?
Patrick, I am.
Mark, thank you. I like vented to kill time to line up the music cue correctly, and it was still the short music transition. It's supposed to be the long one. So I was traveling this weekend, so I played a little bit for my Sega Genesis episode coming up. But I tell you, I can't shake Animal Crossing and Happy Home Paradise. It's just, man, being on a plane and just like designing an animal's house, like a perfect way to burn an hour. Just like it evaporates, like it never existed. I love it.
That's awesome. I wish that I were in a position to do that. I am sad to say I still have not unlocked Happy Home Paradise.
Man. But so, did you get tell me where you are in your island.
Okay. So there's still so many things that keep happening that I'm like, oh right, this is part of the game. I have the resident services building,
Okay.
which I thought was going to be the key.
Right.
Nothing happened after
And
that.
Isabel is on the island.
Isabel's on the island, and I've built the campground. So, and I've had campers come to the campground. I'm guessing that I have to get KK to my island.
Wow.
Before, just like I can't imagine what other like
what else triggers
milestone
it?
is going to be triggering it. So I don't know. So that was a little bit disappointing just because I'm like ready to get to Happy Home Paradise.
Yeah.
A little worried that by the time I actually get there, I'm going to be like, and now I'm done with Animal Crossing again.
It's such a different experience than regular old Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Last week I was watching Sarah play a little bit of it, and it just looks like so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it when I get there eventually. One thing that was interesting with just regular old Animal Crossing New Horizons this week is that the first visitor to my island on the campground was Raymond, the cat.
Yeah, he's a coveted cat.
He's a coveted cat. Sounds like we're
we're doing cats.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
the Raymond cat is a coveted cat.
And so that was a fun surprise. So now Raymond is part of my island.
Cool.
Yeah. But so I think I just need I think if I'm remembering correctly that in order to get KK, you need 3 stars on your island, and you need like 5 residents. So I think 1 more resident, which is not that hard to do. Just go on Dodo Airlines, go to an island, and just be like, hey.
Don't you start with 2 and then 2 more come as you build resident services?
So maybe I need 6.
So Raymond was one of those? Honestly,
No. Raymond came from the campground.
Oh,
so
okay.
You're right. So it started with 2, and me. So started with 2.
Started with 2. Now we're here.
Got 2 more.
Right.
Then Raymond came. So I guess.
So you have 5.
I guess I do have 5.
Here's the thing. I think the number of villagers you have contributes to your star score.
Oh.
So putting down flowers, putting down paths, putting down fences.
Yeah.
And just putting stuff outside. Like a house, another animal's house counts as a thing outside.
Got it. So yeah, basically at this point, I think I just need to throw a bunch of stuff outside.
Right.
And
build fences. Fences are they're nice, they're aesthetic, they're easy. You can craft them really easily.
Yeah, I guess my problem is that my island is not really I deleted my island before because I didn't like it aesthetically.
Right.
But this time
you decided not to care about the aesthetics
at all.
Right.
And so my island is kind of a mess. I could put fences down, but I don't really know. Maybe I'll just fence in the weeds that are growing up on the 2nd level. I don't know.
Just fence someone's house. Just give them a little whatever backyard they organically have. Just make it back there.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's where I am. I really thought I was going to be able to start Happy Home Paradise, but no. I think I have to get KK first, which will probably take a few more days.
Probably at least another week.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I wish you luck on your quest to get to Happy Home Paradise.
If anyone wants to pay me thousands of dollars for
what?
For
Where's
Raymond?
This going? Oh, I see.
If anyone wants to pay me thousands, I mean, in full stop.
Right.
I'm fine with it. But if anyone wants to pay me thousands of dollars for Raymond, I don't know if that mania still exists or if the Raymond market crashed. Here's
why I would guess that the Raymond market did crash. Is that he was a new character to New Horizons, right?
Right.
Which means that there was no amiibo card for him previously. But in the Series 5, they added all of the new characters. So Sherb has a card now, and Raymond also now has a card.
Darth Vader, no.
Wait, Darth Vader, no. Which time? Sarah and I watched Return of the Jedi the other day, and it just on Disney Plus, and so it's the most recent cut of it, and it's got the no from Revenge of the Sith as he's lifting the Emperor above his head.
Was that new for Disney Plus? Because I know we got McClunky
from
Disney Plus.
No, it was one
the
of
Blu-ray edit.
It was the blue. Yes, it was
one of the Blu-ray.
It was the same edit that added Hayden Christensen's Force Ghost.
Oh, okay.
To the end, which wasn't the regular old special edition. I mean, obviously, because he wasn't cast as Anakin Skywalker when the special edition first came out, which is now wild to think about. that the special edition of Return of the Jedi is like 25 years old.
Yeah. Older than Star Wars was when the first special edition came out.
I can't even talk about it. Mark, here's some other old things that I played with this weekend. I was in Denver visiting my brother, and we went up into the mountains for a day, and on our way out, we drove through Lyons, Colorado, and I clocked a little pinball parlor called Lyons Classic Pinball, and I said, "It's pinball," but everyone in the car was like talking, and so like my observation went unnoticed. And the next day we were talking about where to stop to get lunch on our way back to the city, and I was like, there was this pinball parlor, and everyone was like, what pinball parlor, what are you like, very excited, and it would be like, you should have just listened to me in the first place, we would have known this place was here. But so it is a super cool, if you're ever in or around Lyons, Colorado, go check it out if you're interested in pinball or even just like old arcade machines. They have a 37 pinball machine collection, and some of them are like the oldest ones they have are like Bally's machines from like 1974. I played the Elton John like Captain Fantastic pinball machine where like everything is physical, right? Like you can hear like the bells like dinging around inside, like as you're just like kind of pushing the buttons. They have a Hercules machine, which I'd never heard of before, but it's enormous. There are fewer than 500 of these things in the world. And it's so big that I couldn't play it by myself.
Wait, sorry.
Yes.
Is it Hercules, like, is it a tie into a movie, or is it called Hercules because it is so large?
So it's from the 80s. So it's Hercules. The theming is Hercules, the hero, but it's not tied to.
It's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's not like Arnold
that.
Schwarzenegger,
Okay.
and it's not like the Disney Hercules.
Yeah.
There's no James Woods like making fun of you when you lose a ball or anything. The thing is so big that the ball is a billiard ball.
Oh, whoa.
And like the plunger that you pull back to like make the thing fire is like huge. You have to like grasp it by your whole hand. And so like you have one person on one side controlling the right flipper, the other person on the other side controlling the left flipper. And like what's happening at the top of the table is so far away you almost can't see it.
That's so cool.
It was really, really fun. And so, just sampled a bunch of fun arcade or a bunch of fun pinball machines. Did a couple old classics like that Terminator 2 machine, which I have played so much of just throughout my life, and it was really fun to revisit. But I also played some new stuff. The Rick and Morty machine was really fun. Yeah, I just had a great time with this this pinball, classic pinball
What
lounge.
a cool discovery.
Yeah, and we would have discovered it just a little bit earlier.
I've also been playing Rise Star, in preparation
Yes, yeah.
for our Sega Genesis weeks, but I will say nothing of it here.
Just as I will say nothing of Gunstar Heroes here, other than to say I've gotten over my, how I don't normally care for guns or shooting stuff in games.
Now you love guns.
Now I love guns. I'm a big
stuff.
gun nut. Well, I spent a weekend in Colorado. What do you want? All right, Mark. Let's. What am I doing here? That's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
So today, December 7th, Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, the retail version was supposed to come out, but it has been delayed to 2022.
Probably a good move.
Also releasing today, 12 Minutes, not to be confused with 5 Minutes, the Madonna and Justin Timberlake combo mashup, team up from...
This is like the
2007
narrative looping game.
Yeah, yes.
With like Willem Dafoe and
is it like Jessica Chastain or something
no,
like
it's
that?
Daisy Ridley.
Oh, okay.
And Mr. Split. Split personality. John.
Oh, James McAvoy.
Yes, that's
sorry.
McAvoy, yeah.
Really, we should Ray Skywalker, the Green Goblin,
and Split from the
Mr.
movie Split.
Yeah, that's right.
We used to ask for spoilers to the movie Split, and then we just went and saw it.
Also releasing is Love is Strange True Colors, which has been out on other platforms and is now making its way to Switch.
Back before I realized that the Grand Theft Auto trilogy was being delayed, I was like, wow, what a huge day for third-party releases on Switch. 12 minutes Grand Theft Auto and Life is Strange True Colors. But it's still pretty big even with that. Also, we have in our notes Love is Strange, but it's Life is Strange, right?
Pretty sure it's Life is
And we both
Strange.
said Life is Strange?
I
don't know.
We will never know.
It's Life is Strange.
On December 8th, on Wednesday, Sam & Max Beyond Time and Space is released on the Switch eShop.
Sam & Max usually do just like noir detective-y kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, like comedy noir.
But they're going beyond time and space?
In a very noir type way, I'm sure.
You're probably right. There was a John Schwartzwelder, the Simpsons writer.
Yes.
He wrote a series of novels about a detective named Frank Burley, and the first of them is called The Time Machine Did It, which is such a good title for a mystery, but it is similarly a noir story that goes into ridiculous high concept sci-fi places.
And then on Thursday, December 9th, Monopoly Madness is released, Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX, and Loop Hero.
That's that's a lot, and it's exciting to see Loop Hero like actually finally come out. That's one that we saw not teased, but like revealed as coming to Switch in the most recent indie showcase.
And then on Friday, Paper Mario is coming to the Nintendo 64 Switch Online, which I am deeply excited for.
I believe you said I would do terrible things to have that on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Absolutely. So I am so excited that it is here.
This will be. Yeah, it will be very shortly. This was announced last week. And Mark, you texted to me that this was happening. It's very exciting. It's been a little over a month since the service was launched, and this is the first time that they're updating it 1 month later, so like that cadence seems okay. It's one game.
I know maybe I have like Paper Mario colored glasses on and so I don't see it, but I'm like, to me that makes sense. Where I was not expecting to get multiple Nintendo 64 games at a time. Also, the cadence for these updates on any of these Nintendo Switch Online platforms just seem kind of like seemingly random to me. And so it might be one game this time. But I guess I wouldn't be super surprised if like January or February or March, whenever it gets updated next, it's 2 games. Or, like I guess I don't feel like they're like marrying
you don't think
themselves
they're like,
to one game release just because it's happening that way this time.
Yeah, and it's funny because like from the perspective of like I'm gonna play Paper Mario. I assume you're gonna play Paper Mario. It's a long-ish game, right? It's an RPG. So like if they put out another one like 2 weeks later, that would be too soon for me. I would need the time. But it's also like if Paper Mario doesn't speak to someone, then they got nothing for a month.
Totally. I mean, they still have 8 or so other Nintendo 64 games.
Yeah, there are 9 in the collection presently. Yeah.
But yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. I have not played this original Paper Mario game since the Nintendo 64, so it has been a long while. So I'm very excited to revisit it. What's your experience with the original Paper Mario?
I played it on the Wii when that virtual console came online. I played it while I was living in Hawaii. And was like homesick and didn't want to be on that island anymore. I was just like randomly buying stuff, like old classic games that I had never played before on the Wii, and Paper Mario was one of them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if it like how similar it is to the game in my mind.
Yes. It makes me excited for a time when we will, I don't even know what form this takes, but when we will actually get a chance to play Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Yes. Because like, come on, look, we talked about it last week, but like, I want to play some GameCube games now.
Totally.
Is that so wrong, Mark?
I completely agree.
Was there anything else on the list here that you were interested in this week?
No, but you're right. This is one of the stronger weeks we've had in a while, I feel like.
Yeah, me too. All right, Mark, let's close this out. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I'll talk about something not all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, it's an age-old question that we are posing today. Fruits versus vegetables. I guess the question is, which do you prefer? Mark, just with your gut, which do you prefer, fruits or vegetables?
I think fruits.
Right.
Is what I would say, because I have a bit of a sweet tooth.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I'll say for vegetables, is that I think that there is more, like, variety in vegetables. There's sweet vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
There are, like, savory vegetables. Like, vegetables kind of got you covered in a way that fruits,
and they can sustain you, right? Like a fruit, like you're being healthy when you eat a fruit. Like, you're right. But, it's not, man cannot live on fruit alone.
Right. I think that's right. It feels right.
It feels right. I had a friend in college who once said to me, this is after he took like a bite of an apple or it was some kind of fruit. He just said, "Man, I'm always disappointed in fruit." Like every time he tries one, it wasn't living up to his expectation of what he wanted from it.
Fruit is hard.
Yeah.
Because you get a fruit, it looks so good. I assume this is why most restaurants do not really serve fruit, right? You can get salad fairly easily, but there's no, other than like a fruit cup.
Right.
There's no place that's like, oh yeah, your side options are, sure, you can get a hamburger with French fries, or do you want fruit? It's no.
I mean, there was the trend of like apple slices. Granted, that's for children, but you can get apple slices as like a side at McDonald's in a Happy Meal or something.
That's a great point. But yeah, I think there's just more inconsistency in what you get with the fruit, because with vegetable, I don't know, it feels like it could be like 7 days too ripe, in quotes.
Sure.
And it's going to taste fine.
Yeah.
Fruit, you just have like that small window.
Well, and the other thing is, and this is probably just like part of our culinary traditions, but also that's like for these purposes, we are talking about culinary fruits and culinary vegetables. In that tomato, I'm saying vegetable.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right? Like, obviously, it's biologically a fruit, but we use it like a vegetable. And the difference for how we prepare them is that we prepare vegetables. We don't really prepare fruits. We wash it, we maybe cut it up, and that's it. But Sarah and I have this Life magazine from 1945 or something, and it's the Christmas issue. So it's got funny recipes and stuff in it, including entertaining. And one of the things that it suggests you do is broil a grapefruit. And the thought of sticking a half grapefruit in the oven.
Maybe it's really good.
But it's just not when's the last time you had cooked fruit?
Yeah, not very often.
Yeah, I guess plantains sometimes.
Right.
But that's it. It's the exception.
Yeah, no, you're right. Fruit does not get the same treatment as vegetables. Maybe that's a point in fruit's favor, where it's just it's simple.
Right. You don't need to dress it up. Right.
Yeah.
Right. We're putting lipstick on the vegetables, but we know not to do that with fruit.
I feel like there are more there are fewer vegetables that I enjoy than fruits I enjoy, probably.
Okay.
I feel variety wise.
Well, and there are very few, you don't ever reach for a candy or a granola bar that is broccoli flavored.
Yeah.
But I like broccoli. I probably like a well-cooked broccoli better than a good apple or something.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And I feel it sadly means that, of course, vegetable, because it tastes not as it's not as desirable. You're not immediately give me those vegetables. That they're definitely better for you. There's just no getting around it, right?
Yes, yeah. Vegetables, you mean, are definitely better for you?
Yeah,
yeah.
Because they don't even have to trick you into eating them.
No, right. Well, and because we have this biological reaction to eating something sweet like a fruit, where it's just yes, this will sustain me for the next 20 minutes. What are your favorite fruits?
I'm pretty simple. I like berries.
Yeah.
I'm a berry person. Give me those raspberries.
Yeah. How do you feel about bananas?
I'm fine with bananas.
You're fine with
I
bananas.
have a banana I have like a banana every morning, I would say.
Yeah, it's banana in the morning, especially like a nice, like that it hasn't started to like go into the too ripe territory. I'll take even a banana a little on the green side. Like, so it's got a little resistance to it, you know? One that I can bite into, Mark.
Now, I would say there are lots of like varieties of vegetables, but I suppose I am giving short shrift to fruits because like avocado's a fruit, right?
Yeah, I would think it would have to be. We've blown past the end of this thing. There was no applause. We were accompanied we were accompanied today by the piano quartet. 2 sharps, 1 flat. Great performance. No applause. All right, Mark. Let's get into the news.
The Game Awards, which I think we have not talked about at all this year on the show,
Yeah.
will be happening this Thursday, December 9th at the Microsoft Theater in downtown LA.
Fabulous downtown Los Angeles.
And
we will not be in attendance.
No, we weren't invited. Oddly. And streaming on all the usual. Well, we won't be in attendance, of course, because we're hosting our competing
That's right.
award show, the Cardis.
Our
the same
equally
night.
illustrious award show.
That's right.
At the same time. Actually, all day with our show will be running.
So the Game Awards this Thursday, December 9th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific time, streaming everywhere. Nintendo has a, I guess, interesting history of using the Game Awards to reveal stuff. So in 2020 was Sephiroth in Smash Ultimate, which I forgot that was at the Game Awards.
I forgot it was too. I was doing some research to see because I had like a memory of there being some like big Nintendo announcements, and sometimes big Nintendo announcement means that like a partner of theirs revealed something, and sometimes it just means like, oh yeah, here's a character in Smash. Like 2 of their big announcements of the last 5 years were Smash Brothers characters.
Right.
Which is off the table now. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah. And 2019...
Unless, oh my God, what if they were like, character pack 3?
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
2019 was Bravely Default 2. Again, totally forgot that's where that happened. 2018 was Joker in Smash Ultimate and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. 2 pretty cool reveals.
Yep.
2017 was Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad DLC, which was very exciting. And then Bayonetta 1 and 2 on Switch and Bayonetta 3 all revealed in 2017. So pretty big show for Nintendo all around.
I mean, that was also the year that Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year. So, like, it was sort of Nintendo's show. Like, I think they realized they needed to bring some, like, actual stuff of substance to the point where they revealed Bayonetta 3, a game which to date is still not out.
Yeah, that's right. And then in 2016, Breath of the Wild demo, which for context was before the Switch reveal, but only by like a few weeks, but only 4 months before the console launch. This is the one, if I'm remembering correctly, where it was like Aonuma and Miyamoto. And
Yeah,
they
that's
were,
right.
Like, kind of, they're just sitting next to a screen and Miyamoto was playing it.
Oh, no, I think that may have been a Nintendo Direct. I believe Bill Trinan is in this one.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he's sitting with one of them. It doesn't matter. But yeah, a cool like sort of the last reveal that we got, or the last like gameplay demo that we got of it before having the January reveal event for the Switch.
And then 2015 was nothing.
So okay, I was looking into like announcements and reveals at the Game Awards, but for 2015, and I don't know if like the internet just has like a short memory now and I can't find any content from before 6 years ago, or if that just the Game Awards wasn't there yet, wasn't to a place where it was like hosting big announcements. But in 2015 you see like a couple announcements from other publishers, nothing from Nintendo, and any earlier than that and there's just like nothing.
Got it. So yeah, I feel like I do not have any expectations that we'll see really anything.
Yeah. I
this
mean,
Thursday.
I think it's likely that it'll be like a 2019-ish year where like Square announces something and it's also coming to Switch, and it's not coming to Switch. You know, like we're deep enough into the Switch's life cycle that the third-party support doesn't necessarily have to be as like kicking as it once was. Although, you know, we're getting Project Triangle Strategy at some point next year, and that Ubisoft Rabbids game
That's
as
right.
well.
Yeah.
We think is coming out next year. Maybe we get more information about that.
That would make sense.
That'd be a good place for that.
There are some Nintendo games or games on Switch that are nominated in categories this year. So, Game of the Year, Metroid Dread is nominated for Game of the Year. Best Mobile Game, Pokemon Unite. Best Action Adventure Game, Metroid Dread shows up again. Best Role-Playing, Shin Megami Tensei 5 and Monster Hunter Rise, both on there. Best Family Game, where the Nintendo games tend to be
they just get shoveled into this corner.
It's like the best animated film,
yes,
category at the Oscars.
Right. It's like, and it's everything Disney put out this year.
Where it's like, these are really good, but we don't want them to mix with Best Picture. So, Best Family, Mario Party Superstars, New Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, WarioWare Get It Together, and then the other game in that category is It Takes Two,
which is very funny.
Best Multiplayer, Knockout City and Monster Hunter Rise, and most anticipated, which I have to admit seems like a very silly category, especially since I'm pretty sure sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was nominated for the same category last year.
That tracks. Yeah, I mean, most anticipated. I left off, there's language on a lot of the ends of these categories of like, brought to you by Verizon. Like the mobile game is brought to you by Verizon. And all of that feel like, I get it. You need to like get your bag to like put on the show. But it feels skeezy in a way that like the Oscars aren't, where like the Oscars are, there's no best actor brought to you by, crypto.com or whatever.
You wait for the commercials to know that JCPenney is sponsoring it. You know what I mean?
There will be other ads throughout the Game Awards show though. Like we're going to see that.
No, it definitely feels like the rest of how like video games operates. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Where it's just treated, it lacks the even pretend dignity that some of the other award show like carry.
Well, I mean that is another thing too, is that any other award show that you're watching, you're not expecting to, like, you don't watch the Grammys to see like a surprise like Kanye announced he's doing a new record. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The only way to make a gaming award show interesting is to promise like reveals and exclusive trailers and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like
it's such a weird space.
It's disappointing, and I feel like Jeff Keighley has talked about it before, where he's like, "Hey, this is what we've got to do to get it together, and
it's
we're
this
still
or nothing
celebrating,
right now,
right?" But I'm kind of like, maybe it should be nothing, right?
Well, because like nothing really trends in the direction of becoming less commercial, right? Like, if something can start to make money or start to recoup its losses, it's only going to do that more in the future and not less. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there should be nothing.
And it's
just the Cardis and nothing else.
Well, and it's not like there's nothing. Like I feel like
sure, there's like dice.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. Needless to say, I do actually think it's cool that Metroid Dread made the short list for Game of the Year.
It feels like it's going to get stomped, though, right?
For sure, but what a gift to even be nominated.
The other nominees for Game of the Year, we don't have to go through all of these, but is Deathloop, It Takes Two, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village, which, all like really well-regarded games this year. A lot of like high-profile exclusives on this list. Metroid Dread is only on Switch, Deathloop is only on PlayStation, Psychonauts is only on Xbox, and Ratchet & Clank is only on PlayStation.
I definitely feel like this is some of the most interesting nominees because there's no
runaway.
There's no runaway. There's no like Last of Us Part 2, like that's where it's just like a juggernaut.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I mean, that's interesting. The Resident Evil Village or It Takes Two got nominated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's also weird to me. So just keep that list in your head as I read off the best action adventure list. Metroid Dread, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village. 4 of those games are also nominated for. So I don't know. There's obviously some sort of like bias towards that kind of game in Game of the Year discussions, that like action adventure is just sort of like the default video game. I haven't really gone back to see. I have to imagine it's got to be that or RPGs, and nothing else can really win Game of the Year.
Yeah, I don't remember, but that definitely feels like the type of games
Totally,
that would
yeah.
be nominated
Yeah.
for something like that.
Yeah, I worry, not that I worry, because like Metroid Dread will be fine whether it wins Game of the Year or not. But I worry that like everything else is such high production value and has, like fully voiced whatever and, beautiful cutscenes and all that kind of stuff that makes them a little bit more like award friendly than something like Metroid Dread.
Yeah, that's why I think it's cool that Metroid Dread got nominated. I feel
Yeah.
like it's we were really excited about Metroid Dread. Presumably Metroid Dread has sold well. I never in a million years thought it would be, in any sort of end of year best of
Yeah.
discussion. So I think it's cool to see it up there.
Yep. Mark, will you be watching the Game Awards, or will you just be catching the trailers on
I think I'll probably just
Kotaku
be
later?
Yeah, I think I'll probably just be catching the trailers later. But I know that it, like any I know people are excited for this, and I hope it turns out well.
Hey, me too.
Nintendo issued an update to their corporate governance report on November 30th. In the report, Nintendo states their commitment to improving diversity within the company. They say, quote, and this is just like a tiny, like, this is, a lot of this is just very boring. Like, this is how the board of directors works and like all that kind of stuff. But they do have one fairly short section on where they speak to diversity. And this is what it says, quote, the company respects human rights in its recruitment process, selecting employees on the basis of their competence and skills, regardless of gender, age, nationality, disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity, conducts fair employee appraisal and treatment in accordance with the quality and quantity of skills demonstrated by employees, and helps employees demonstrate their skills even further. This is Nintendo of Japan, by the way. The company does not have specific targets for the appointment of women, foreign nationals, and mid-careers to managerial positions. However, as a global company engaging in the entertainment business, which is characterized by increasingly diversifying customer needs and preferences, it is essential that we leverage the talents of a diverse workforce. Therefore, we are committed to respecting the personality and strengths of each and every employee, including employees from our overseas subsidiaries, and developing an environment where employees of diverse backgrounds can maximize their potential.
It's always like I like it when when it's explicit that like the language of capitalism is also the language of inclusivity and diversity, where it's like we make more money when we are making a product that is actually built in like a melting pot of lots of different ideas and perspectives
that reflects the world,
reflects the world,
reflects the consumers.
Like there's something like reassuring about that to me, where it's like, oh yeah, the things that I think of as like lofty ideals are also just sort of codified in like what can make you money,
right?
Which at the end of the day, just like the Game Awards, what can make you money, that's the direction we're gonna go in, and it's nice to know that Nintendo is seeing that, acknowledging it, and stating it.
Finishing here, as part of these efforts, we are recruiting women and creating an environment in which women can build successful careers. We intend to increase the proportion of women in managerial positions from the current proportions in the Nintendo Group's principal offices globally, 23.7% as of March 31st, 2021, and Nintendo Company Limited in Japan, 4.2% as of March 31st, 2021.
Okay, so they've got room to grow.
Yeah, room to improve.
4.2% is pretty low.
Yep.
Pretty low. But yeah, I mean, especially for a company that is so active in courting a wider user base than what you would traditionally think of as like the target audience for video games. It makes sense that they would be actively recruiting women for all of those roles.
Yeah, absolutely. Spiritfarer, the 2020 indie darling about shepherding spirits to the afterlife, will be getting its third and final free update on December 13th, so early next week. According to developer Thunder Lotus, the update titled Jackie and Daria is the biggest update yet and includes a new island and 2 new spirits.
So Spiritfarer, one of these games that revealed in a indie showcase, and I think you and I were both interested in it. Did you play a little bit?
So I did. I picked it up when it was first released, and I played maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and I was just not in the right mindset for it. Like the systems and all that stuff, it just felt like it felt fiddly in a way that I just wasn't ready to engage with at that moment. So always been something that I like have wanted to go back to.
Yeah. When it was part of that kind of like interesting wave of games that were coming out during the pandemic, where there was this like indie, I don't know, there was like a cuddliness of death, right? And Spiritfarer is definitely that, where it is both cozy and morbid at the same time. And yeah, I mean, just knowing that they've been quietly adding to it, we didn't talk about it on the show the previous two times that they updated, but now 3 updates in, it sounds like there's a lot more in this game. Again, we talked about it last week with Eastward, right? That's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be playing games right when they come out.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's encouraging. I know that Spiritfarer did well, and like I'm assuming Eastward did as well. But I
Yeah.
think it's nice that there is this like kind of just general acceptance that games have the opportunity to grow
Yeah.
and change and like can get better. And so you might play it at release and some stuff might not speak to you, but it's possible that, that stuff will change, or
Yeah.
the additions. I don't know. I do like that in a way that, like a film or an album or something like that, it just like is, or a book, it just kind of like is what it is, and there's not really a lot of opportunity for somebody to go back and like tinker with it. And
Unless
add
you're
to
George
it,
Lucas.
unless you're George Lucas. But
I guess
I think that's
yeah.
a cool. No, but you're right. There
But
are
books get revisited, and like albums sometimes get like a bonus track or something, on like
You're
a
right.
re-release, but like not commonly and not right away, right? Like that sort of thing happens 20 years later. It's interesting that we get these, and even re-releases like special editions or complete editions a year later or whatever. Games are just like faster at doing that.
Yeah, I just think there's something cool about games at like, as much as games as a service, like Fortnite and stuff,
Yeah.
don't necessarily speak to me. I think it's really cool that as a medium, games are able to like quickly change and evolve. And Spiritfarer has been out for like 18 months and has had 3 updates and is a very different game,
Yeah.
than when it released. And I think there's something really neat about that.
Yeah, something cool about the game that exists in perpetuity not being the same as the game that came out at launch. They have like the benefit of the reaction to it at launch and how people are actually playing it. Like that's it's a neat way to just like sort of auto correct a game's reputation. Not necessarily that ever gets back to like the world at large, but like the game can just get better over time. Did you see when, again, I don't have it as a news item here, but that Dead Cells got like a bunch of updates with like characters from other
Everyone
Indian
is here update.
Yeah,
which is
Shovel Knight's in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's cool. Like Dead Cells has been out for at least a year, probably like 2 years or even longer than that, right?
I think 2019 sometime.
So yeah, I mean, I guess it's also really neat to me that something like Dead Cells, or like the person who, or maybe it's a team that's working on the DLC for Katana Zero. That game came out in 2019. We haven't, seen anything of the DLC.
But like it's coming.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something really neat about that. That I feel there's something about it that feels unique to games.
Yeah, definitely, and that feels sort of standard for games of all sizes at this point, right? Like we've talked about so many indie games that has been the case for. That the Messenger had that big DLC pack. Obviously, Stardew Valley continues to be updated. It's just kind of it's a cool space, and it makes me very like happy for games.
3 years ago, Norway's Consumer Council sued Nintendo in Germany for not allowing users to cancel eShop game pre-orders.
So Norway's Consumer Council sued Nintendo Germany.
Nintendo
Germany must service like that.
Exactly. So I think it's
like
just
Northern
Nintendo
Europe.
in Europe who is based in Germany.
Got it.
And so Nintendo won the original judgment. So Norway's Consumer Council sued them, saying, "Hey, you charge people for pre-orders, and then you don't let them cancel, but even if like the game hasn't come out yet."
Right.
And in the original judgment, Nintendo won, but the Consumer Council appealed. And according to Norwegian news site Pressfire, Nintendo has lost that appeal, with the ruling saying that Nintendo has to allow refunds until the game is playable.
That makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me too. Nintendo apparently has like they already implemented a system that allows for one-click refunds up to 1 week from release. What happens in that like 7-day period? I don't exactly know because
Yeah.
isn't
Because that's
that's
when
the s-
that's when a review becomes like available, right? Is in the last couple days before that you'll start to see reviews for a game popping up.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm pretty sure that's essentially how it works in the US. So I'm assuming everywhere now
Yeah.
is you pre-order, you're not charged until 7 days
Right.
out.
Right.
They
Yeah.
they changed that a while back when they updated the eShop.
Right.
So now the way, because it used to be that a game would become available for preload, uh, and then you could pre-order it, but you were charged at the time, and it like downloaded onto your system.
Yeah.
But with the new system, they can start pre-ordering months, years before the game even goes gold,
Right.
because it's not preloading. It's just saying, "Oh, I want to like buy this,"
Right.
and then
Which-
7 days out is when
Yeah.
your card gets charged.
Sort of a bizarre practice too, right? Because it's like if it's digital and you're not preloading, what's really the point of pre-ordering at that point?
Do you know what? It's so like
I've done it.
I do it all the time. But you're right. Like, like as you're doing it, you're like, this makes no sense. Click.
Right.
Doing it because there's something about the anticipation
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
new game that is almost just as fun as actually having the new game.
Totally.
And so like pre-ordering is part of just like that process of being like, and now I have acquired it.
Yes.
Even though I haven't.
Right. And even though there's no digital scarcity, right? Like all of
Right.
these things exist, as many copies of them exist as you want. But I think I mostly only do that with games I know absolutely for certain that I'm going to buy. Like, it sort of didn't matter to me what the reviews for Metroid Dread said. Like, I was going to pick up the game on day one and play it.
Totally.
But yeah, so anyway, it's a weird practice and we shouldn't be doing it. But I'm glad that there's that the Norway Consumer Council is like pushing back against, because it is a little bit of a predatory, like weird tactic to not allow you to cancel a pre-order.
Totally. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Finally, Summer Game Fest is coming back for 2022. Creator Jeff Keighley made the
Second mention in this show. Second mention for Jeff Keighley.
made the announcement in the lead up to the Game Awards. And Summer Game Fest has made zero impact in my mind,
Yeah.
but probably because there just isn't that much Nintendo news out of it generally.
Yeah.
But
it's also just so like diffuse, right?
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
so spread out over like 3 or 4 months of just like press conferences and stuff. And like Sony will also just like do an event, or like Nintendo will just do a direct, and they don't have anything to do with the Summer Game Fest, and like that's where the big news comes out of. So yeah, to your point, it means nothing to me.
yeah,
basically.
it must be successful because this will be the third year doing it.
Right.
But yeah, Summer Game Fest back.
Do you think that this is trouble for? I'm bringing up the old E3 question, right? I'm sorry to do it again, but E3 was back in a digital format this year and was a little bit. I don't know. It wasn't like it used to be, right? But you could argue that even the last time there was an in-person E3, it wasn't like it used to be. But yeah, what do you think this means for the fact that Summer Game Fest is sticking around? What do you think that means for the future of E3?
I wonder if E3 this year, if they're able to go like back in person,
Yeah.
if that'll actually be a good thing for E3, because I think there's the opportunity for people to be really excited about,
Yeah.
having that like opportunity back. That being said, there might be other, like game developer conferences and that sort of thing that steals that thunder. But yeah, I think gaming is so big right now that there is definitely room for all of this.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Well, and also like for the big experiences, like actual experiential thing, right? That publishers and developers put on, like thinking about when you and I played the Final Fantasy VII remake demo at E3, or the year before when I had played the Resident Evil 2 remake. I guess I'm only playing remakes. But that all of these are inside, tiny little experiences where like you're being shuttled through and shown a video, and the building looks like something out of Final Fantasy VII or out of Raccoon City or whatever. and that just how cool that is to have a tiny little theme park experience and then also play a game that hasn't been released yet. I just hope that finds a way to come back.
Yeah, I agree. Because I feel like the promise of events like Summer Game Fest is like democratizing those sorts of experiences where it's like, hey, instead of a few hundred people being able to play this demo for a limited time, anybody on PC can download
Totally,
like this
yeah.
demo, which I don't feel like that we've gotten there yet, but that's a really exciting idea.
Yeah. Well, and I think like, well, I don't know. I don't really have a gauge. Do people who are, do we do this thing where we're not attending the event, but we are following press types who are, and so we get sort of like a second hand, like, do people have a sense of like the police station that they had set up for Resident Evil 2 remake?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they do.
And is that fun, or does it seem stupid? Like, I don't have a gauge for it anymore.
I mean, speaking for myself, I always think it's like that's part of like the fun and mystique of E3 is, like seeing what is there, and it's just like tantalizing glimpses, just like it's tantalizing glimpses of the games themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's something to the alchemy of E3 that's kind of like has been magical in the past.
Right.
But yeah, I just feel like what Summer Game Fest is trying to do is so different from what a good E3 can accomplish, a good in-person conference can accomplish, that they don't really step on each other's toes.
All right. Well, Mark, let's get out of the news. And that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, you can share it on Facebook or Twitter, wherever you share stuff. We appreciate it when you do. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. We also have a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8BitBetty. You can get more of his music by going to 8BitBetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.
I'm Brian Husky. I'm bald.
And I'm Charlie Sanders, and I'm also bald. And we host Bald Talk on the Campfire Media Network.
Bald Talk is the podcast where two bald comedians talk to anyone bald about being bald.
But this show isn't just for baldies, Brian. Heroes will love it too.
Bald Talk gets into vulnerability, vanity, insecurity, and self-acceptance, reminding us that we all have our respective bald spots. Not that bald spots are a bad thing.
No way. I mean, my entire head is one big bald spot.
It is one huge, beautiful bald spot, Charlie.
Get Bald Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
I mean, I have like a little bit of hair, but not like you. Like, you're really bald.
I'm truly bald.
Great. I mean, it's
I'm
great.
balder than you.
You are balder than me.
Only on Bald Talk. Campfire.